On behalf of White Wing Publishing, I invited Emilia to have a chat with me about this amazing book she's written a while ago, and we've published in Polish language a while ago as well. But this is just, the book is called, in Polish it's called Język Cudów. In English it's The Language of Miracles. And this is just one of the books Emilia has written about animal-human communication. But apart from writing, Emilia is also an international speaker, visionary, activist, actress, dancer. But most of all, she's an interspecies communication specialist. Did I get it right?
You got it right. You're going to make me cry. What a beautiful, beautiful introduction.
Thank you. Would you like to add anything to it?
No, I think you certainly have gotten it all. I mean, right now, the amazing thing is being able to fly to Poland and teach these seminars because of the book that you published. What's so amazing is that this book was my second book, and it's very controversial because it's about quantum processes. The first book is about the process of how I discovered that I can actually hear animals and all 50 case studies and stories. So this book is the most complicated, and it's something that I wrote for veterinarians and to be able to defend ourselves in the scientific arena. And it was mentored by the astronaut Edgar Mitchell. Well, I'm utterly amazed, astonished, thrilled, and amazed that in Poland, this has become kind of a phenomenon. I mean, in Poland right now, where I'm teaching Chewy Taraz, and I'm about to fly to Warsaw yet again, which has now become twice a year. Now it's 2 weekend workshops every 6 months. And I'm about to come teach again. And when I come over and teach, I'm signing hundreds of those books. So you took a risk on something that was so ahead of its time, that was so cutting edge, to be able to say, not only do all humans, and I will attest to this, we all have intuition. We all have psychic ability. We all have the ability to open the third eye, have a spiritual awakening, and be able to hear and feel and understand somebody else's point of view. And what I'm teaching is that somebody else is a dog, a cat, a horse, that there are new ways to actually access information. And some of that comes through what feels like your thinking process, that all of a sudden you ask a question. And I teach people how to get in the right state of mind where they can actually receive answers. And the incredible thing about it is everybody who comes in off the street and says, I've read your books. I believe in this. I believe you can do this, but I know I can't do it. There's no way I can do it. That is exactly how I started. And that's the beauty of the whole thing. Because from the beginning to the end, skepticism to discovering this human body can do things that we have no idea. We are just discovering the capacity of the human mind. And when I'm teaching, every single student will have some miracle in some way. Everyone is either going to say, oh, the other dog at home. I mean, maybe they're only looking at a photograph and they can say, oh, the other dog at home is black and white. Or this cat is missing an orange cat that just passed away. And they're always right. So there's something in us now, and it's time for this new faculty to awaken. I'm glad that we wrote these books and published these books a decade or maybe even 2 decades ago, and it created a foundation. So the structure is there of the explanation. How does this work? Why does it work? But then to actually have the ability to be there physically in Poland with my students and awaken this in them and watch it wake up. And then all of a sudden they can hear cats and dogs and horses and birds and dolphins. And in my case, lions, leopard, cheetah, gorilla, elephants. After Poland, I'll go to Cairo, recharge at the pyramids and work with my spirit guides and go down to Africa and lead the safari. So it's incredibly magical to see that what happened to me as a kind of shocking miracle that I never dreamed I had these abilities until I discovered that I did, that I can actually teach and share this with people. It's so exciting, and it's such an honor.
So it's not a matter of gift. It's kind of activation.
It's activation. I mean, it would be like if people are going, I can't hear. And I'm saying, well, take your hands away. And now we're learning that you can do that. The activation is a third eye awakening. So what I'm teaching is a kind of meditative process. We have to be able to get into a state of mind where you're looking at your animal or your baby or your mother or anyone and asking a question and not hearing an answer. Now, with animals, nothing in the world is more important than is this a physical problem or an emotional problem? Because a lot of the times those symptoms are exactly the same. A cat that stops eating, it could have stomach cancer, could have a bad tooth, it could be in kidney failure. But also, maybe the next door neighbor had a cat that your cat was in love with, and the next door neighbor just moved away, and your cat is grieving. Now, how are you going to determine, do I need to take this cat to a veterinarian immediately, or is this an emotional problem? And in both instances, how do I best support their energy? And I'm teaching a process of being able to actually learn how to listen. The depth of the silence determines the clarity and the volume of the information. So if we learn how to silence our minds, which is what all the Buddhist monks and yogis are trying to teach, and you don't have to sit in sacred silence for hours and hours on end. It's a few seconds. If you can silence your mind, silence your emotions, find a place inside of you where your spirit resides. This isn't ego. It's not thoughts. It's not emotions. Your own soul. Now this is, you can call it God, the divine, the creative universal intelligence, source, all that is. But being able to find this space inside of yourself and in moving in a state of grace where there's nothing but love, and simply learn how to breach your energetic field to that animal, which you can already do because you love them. And that's what love is. It's creating these bridges, these energetic bridges. Information travels back and forth on that bridge of light. Now, it's from heart to heart. The thoughts, oh, it could be this, it could be that, oh, no. Or the emotion, oh, gosh, I'm so scared he might die. It's not that. That's more of the ego child self. This is the higher self, where we can sit in a state of grace. You don't force them to speak to you or try to force an answer. The God within you listens to the God within them. And that means that we have to find the God within us in order to listen to the God within them. Because Mother Nature created us too. And she knows what all of her creatures are thinking and feeling. We are one gigantic organism, and we're all part of the divine Mother Earth. And as she's changing and evolving, we're changing and evolving, whether we're aware of it or not. Some of us were in 5D all along. Animals don't talk out loud in your head in 3D. This is a fifth dimensional faculty. And we're still in 3D. There are just levels of complexity that now you can go inside this animal's body and actually see inside them as if you had X-ray vision. Now you can connect to this animal, and if the dog's barking at something that no one else can see and you connect to that, then you find out not only did the other dog pass away and go to heaven and is now visiting it in the house, but maybe who that dog is with. Your grandmother appears. And your dog will say, oh, your grandmother's in the kitchen every morning watching over you. Now, that's something that you could say, ha, that's ridiculous. It's not real. But not only can I find out that grandmother's name, my students can. And if somebody sits down with you and says to you, I see a black and white dog that passed away in March, and his name was Oscar. Now, let's say that you really had a black and white dog named Oscar in March who passed away. Life-changing. Everything you ever thought you knew about the limitations of your own mind and the limitations of this planet and this matrix that we're living in blows it sky high. Now, if that grandmother comes in and says, oh, and I say, shit, your name starts with a P. It's Paulina, and she died in World War II. And the person says, oh, I know my grandmother Paulina's here. and she did pass away. Okay, then what do we have that we never had before? Hope, excitement, faith in this new discovery. And this is what we need. We cannot put our focus on what's happening around us politically, or it'll give us all a nervous breakdown. You've got enough information about that to keep yourself safe. But what's really going to keep you safe is if your soul is connected to the universal source. Now, information's coming in at all times, and that information may be about anybody's animal, whether they're alive or they've passed away to heaven, but that information is also for you. They are so loud when my spirit guides say, Amelia, don't get on that plane. Amelia, you're changing your flight. Amelia, don't get on that train today. You can't go this direction. You've got to go that direction. Now, if we don't learn to trust that part of ourselves, we're missing out and denying the most important faculty that we have. This is stronger than our vision, our hearing, our taste, our touch. This is stronger than everything.
It's intuition.
Exactly.
Are you talking about intuition?
I'm talking about intuition. And everyone has it and uses it, even if they don't acknowledge it. And you had to figure out, and always do every day, which book should I republish? What's going to be successful? What do the people want? What are the readers going to respond to? So we're incorporating that intuition. The problem is that people negate it.
Don't trust it.
That'll come in. And then the part of you that has learned behavior. No, I must be wrong. I can't act on that. I'm making that up. Well, if your cat is coming to you saying, Mom, I got a bad tooth. Mom, I got a bad tooth. And the next day, Mom, I'm in a lot of pain. I've got a bad tooth. This tooth is really hurting me. Now they're going to continue to eat. Cats don't react very strongly to tooth pain. It's an amazing thing. And that's the biggest problem that cats can have, is overlooked tooth problems because of their food and tooth decay and commercial food, and what we're feeding them is not what they would normally eat. And birds and mice and lizards actually clean their teeth, clean their system. God created them to eat exactly what God wants them to eat. And we've interfered in so many ways in the wild animal kingdoms, including what we think are pets. I mean, they're wild animals too. But if your mind goes to that and you think, oh, it might be a tooth, and then your analytical, critical mind comes in and cancels it out. No, you're making that up. Well, then you've got to say, all right, one of these voices is real. And one of these voices was something that I learned in childhood because I was taught to not trust myself by my parents, my teachers, their siblings. We're taught. You cannot talk to animals. You're making that up. That's childish. You cannot trust your intuition. Most children are brought up with that because their parents are not in 5D. They're in 3D and their third eyes aren't open. So when the child's saying, Mom, there's an angel in the room, Grandpa who passed away came to see me, and the cat said this, and the dog wants that, and that horse is really sad. Somehow those feelings get completely crushed.
Yeah. Mm. Or there's a monster in the closet. Nobody believes the kids when they wake up having nightmares when they're small. But we're changing. Different generation of parents at the moment, and Polish people are very waking up. They've been waking up for years now. That's why your book is so popular here, because we've been our intuitions were so crushed when we were kids. So we love the subject. We love this area where we can open up back again. Intuition, heart, third eye. We are longing for it because we've been so suppressed when we were children. But also, history of Poland shows that we, as a country, we couldn't be ourselves. So now we're waking up.
Yeah.
Now we're waking up. And loads of Polish people have pets, and loads of people who are into spiritual growth have cats and dogs, but mostly cats. I have a cat myself, and She's looking at the moment because she knows. And I have amazing moments with her every time when we just don't talk. We just look at each other's eyes and we close them a little bit. This is how we have our moments of love. Just love is just shared. We're just sending each other love back and forth. But many times I saw her seeing something in the space, like looking up or looking in the front of me and there's nothing there. But I know she knows there's something there. So I'm like, what is it? What is it? Show me, what is it? So she feels like she's acknowledged, that it's okay that she sees those things, that I don't ignore it.
Well, that might be information that you need to know about. Maybe some of your ancestors have come to talk to you. Maybe some of your spirit guides are in the room. They have important information they need to relay to you. And when we ignore it, we're missing out on something very, very important. You know, I'm going to quick, for instance, and this isn't about animals, but it is about psychic information, that I've got a friend in London who is married to one of the top shoe designers in the world. We go to Paris Fashion Week together because of his crystal incredible shoes. But his wife and I got to be friends. And she was saying that she had a voice in her kitchen. There was a ghost in the kitchen that was absolutely terrifying to her. This woman was fairly young, and mom had passed away. So when she would go down to the kitchen, the ghost would scare her, moving things, making sounds. I tuned, and so this is the difference. This is where you say, take your hands away from your ears. You know, take your hands away from your eyes. This is the sixth sense, could be called the first sense. Every baby has this. Before humans learn all their languages and math, every baby has a third eye open, sixth sense, first sense. Now, all animals have that first sense. We have emotions that are similar. They grieve, they pine, they laugh, they love, they remember and miss horses that they used to stand next to. They never forget these things. So with this woman, she said, and the old way, which was still spiritual, but it's changed already, would have been to say, bring in an exorcist and get the spirit out of my house. Yeah. I tuned into it and I said, I said, it's your mother. Your mother wants to talk to you and it's important. And you're being afraid of your own spirit guide. Now go down into the kitchen and talk to her as if she were alive, as if she were there. The girl was distracted and had all these things to do and never really got to the level that I asked her to. A few weeks later, her nephew committed suicide, was trying to warn her, to say, you need to contact him. He's in a depression. He's going to go into. She wouldn't listen to her own guidance. Now, it's possible, and you brought up something that makes me think of something I've never really even considered before, that the parents are scared. When a child says, I saw this, well, they did see this, and nobody wants to, no parent wants to admit, oh, I've got some demons in my house. I've got some bad energy in here. We need to clear out some of these disembodied spirits, whatever this is. In this instance, and I do the exact same thing with babies, children, that I would do with a dog or a cat. I would say you create the tool that will protect them. For children, I would say sprinkle salt all around the corners of the room, around the bed. Let's say your child said that's in the closet. Throw the salt or the salt water. It'll clean it out like that. Burning frankincense, burning sage. With children, I would have some sort of a stuffed animal or a statue of Christ or Mother Mary or Kuan Yin or some angel. Say, this is going to protect you. With traumatized animals, they need the big snuggle bunny. I'm going to get them the big stuffed animal. Say, this is the nightmare bunny. You're going to cuddle this, and it's going to take your nightmares away. Now, those tools work.
Yeah.
And it's more valuable for you to be able to ask your child, what was here? Because maybe this thing was scary to a child, but it still could have been some spirit that's bringing information that you need to know about.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I have a few questions that I was told to ask you. First things first, how did you realize you have this gift? You become someone who can communicate with animals. I know it's in your first book.
What the first book is about. And I took a seminar thinking that I could never do it. There was a woman who was teaching, who was working with my veterinarian, who spoke to my cat. I had a cat that was traumatized, and I got him from the shelter. I was very young, didn't know any of this yet. I didn't know any of this was possible. And I took this cat home, and he was really traumatized. So he would scream all night at the top of his lungs, like he was afraid of the dark. And I thought, my goodness, what this one cat, what can I possibly do for it? And of course, it was a male cat. I know now more about solitary male cats who need wives. So I took this cat to see her, and she absolutely blew my mind, and said, not only telling me favorite things you like to eat, but she said to me, his favorite place to sleep is on the back of a peach-colored armchair in your den that has big white flowers on it. And next to it is a bay window, and across the street is a little white dog behind a wooden fence. And he goes over there and makes that dog bark. There was a little terrier across the street. I did not know my cat went over there. And he sat on a peach-colored armchair. I mean, who has a peach-colored armchair with big white flowers on it? And so, I mean, this was Beatrice Leidecker, and her specific details were so shocking that he wasn't eating. I said, why is he not hungry? She said, oh, you know those two next door neighbors, the next door neighbors you have, they have two little girls, and those girls are aged 7 and 5, and they've got long dark hair. Did you know they've been letting your cat in and feeding him? I said, no way. All right, so that broke open for me the whole possibility. Now, she told me the name of the part of town where I got him from the shelter, and that if he didn't scream all night, it was a very, very bad industrial part of Los Angeles. If he didn't yell, workmen wouldn't throw food out for the feral cats when they're in the warehouses. And she recommended that I get him a girlfriend. The last thing I wanted was another cat, and I got all his problems went away. So she solved every problem by listening to his point of view and being able to tune in to him. That this is what I teach. What is your animal really thinking? What are they wanting? What are they needing? What's frustrating them? Relationship problems are they having? And how are you affecting those problems? How are you affected? I mean, what's happening now is we've got just so many animals that have allergy problems and skin problems, and because humans are so stressed out. Now, if you are even in an office and your boss walks in and they're angry, and let's say they're not angry at you, you're still going to feel that. It's going to upset you. It's going to stress you to be around angry people or stressed out people. Stress is very contagious. So the animals are around the humans who are upset and fearful and confused and angry, and they're going to pick up all those negative emotions, and your cat's either going to run away because they need some space to go clear their minds and get their balance back, connect to the universe, which is where cats came from. The dog's going to go into a depression, stomach problems, skin problems, everything under the sun. And the person who's already too stressed out goes takes him to the vet. The vet will say, oh, give him this drug, give him that drug. Well, the animal's doesn't have a problem. It's the humans that are creating the problem. So when we're learning that they're going to feel what we feel, we are alpha in the household, which means alpha means calm, confident, and in charge. That's not domineering. That's not condescending. It's not saying, I'm better than you. No, you're not. Your animals are your spirit guides. And if you can't hear them, you're missing out on everything that you need to know to make this jump in evolution right now. The animals already know. The animals are already connected to God. And we're the ones that have the mind and the matrix and the emotions and that have gotten so far away from nature's world. When we're setting that intention, that we're starting that day, even with just a moment of prayer and meditation. I do it before I even get out of bed. The minute my eyes are open, I'm connecting to the divine.
Yep.
The yoga, the stretching, the morning time, so that you're setting up your emotional stability for the day. The animals are all going to react to you. So I can have cobra in my arms with their teeth. I can have black mamba, crocodiles, great white sharks, gorilla, tigers, wild tigers. They all come to the flame to warm their hands over someone who loves them, who isn't afraid of them, not preoccupied with a bunch of human nonsense. I'm only there to love them. And when I'm on the safari, I'm only here to love you. And I'm here in case you need me to give a message to someone. Are you okay? The baby elephant is sick. I'll make sure the vet gets called. Here's a problem with a hippo. I got you. Now, this is the divine mother and also the divine father. We're moving into that angelic Christess frequency. Not that we're asking the universe for favors. Oh, please help me, please help me. We're being called upon to embody this energy. We are being called upon now. Our training wheels are off. Our spirit guides are saying, it's time. Now, we're owning this love, and we're sending out this, my darling, I love everything about you. You're going to be okay. Maybe that animal's sick. Maybe they're injured. And you're saying, it's all right. We're going to have fun, even though you can't move your back legs. That's okay. Now, that creates the space for the healing, because I'm not rushing. No. I'm not putting any pressure on them. It is that. But see, that word, people use it and they don't really know what it means. If you can't tune into another living being and hear their thoughts and feel their emotions and body scan them and feel what's happening in their bodies, how can you love them? Yeah. You can't even connect to anybody but yourself. So we're learning how to connect to animals. And as a result of that, my students learn how to connect to people, because they have to relay the information from the animal in the most compassionate way they possibly can. Most of the people, the animals are dying, they've got cancer, they're sick, and this is where humans go into little child mode. It's terrifying because people don't know what's wrong with their animal and they love them more than anything on the planet. Be able to even to admit that you love them more than anyone else because they offer you unconditional love. Now, I'm teaching how to return that unconditional love. And when you do, the amount of information that comes to you from the animals is astonishing. And Poland's having a renaissance right now, a spiritual revolution. Also, art, music, culture, fashion. Warsaw's exploding. I think Warsaw's one of the most exciting cities in the world right now. Right before I taught Warsaw, I was in South Korea this last trip. They're having the same. Everywhere I went in South Korea, every single day, there were hundreds of people. They're just ready. And this is creating a new kind of joy and focus and hope, and now we can concentrate on a spiritual practice that brings actual results, big results. If all of a sudden you hear an animal and that thought gets through your conscious mind, or you feel a feeling from them and it turns out that you're right. But maybe, and this is what I'm teaching with all the students, tell you, in Poland, I couldn't believe it. The first time when I got a call from the Taras, where I work out in the Polish countryside. When they said, we've got a free webinar for you to help promote before you fly over. I thought, oh, sure. I'll do a free webinar and have a Polish translator and use your book, as the template, Language of Miracles in Polish. I thought I'd have, 30, 40 people. I had 572, I think. And then they said, oh, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. Not everyone could come. I said, what? I said, over 700 people signed up for that Zoom. And then when I come out to teach, it's just an absolute celebration that in Poland, this is the people in Poland. This is a kind of intelligence that you're able to open your mind, admit we don't know everything and there's more to learn. And no, I'm not just going to sit in meditation in silence to calm myself, which is the beginning of the process. That's opening the door. But now you've got to step through that door. And when I'm teaching, we have to bring a goat into the room and have the group say, who's this goat's favorite other goat? Goat missing anybody? Does she need anything? Did she have babies? What are her health problems? Did she have surgeries? What is she upset about? What does she want more of? What's her greatest joy in the world? What is she trying to teach people? Who are her best friends? And then the students are saying things that are impossible to know without being able to listen and receive information on the higher level.
So it's like tuning into some sort of frequency, right? Because in your book, you wrote about quantum physics. So it's about frequency, right?
It's about frequency. You know, on our radios, when you're driving in your car, if you still turn on a radio, the old was AM and FM on your TV. You change the channel. Now, this is having satellite. This is being able to get every streaming, every bit of information, because the field is a six-dimensional. This is where the Akashic records are stored. This is the field of quantum information. That means that we are all within one energetic field. I believe that it's almost as if the earth has a nervous system. Now, we're part of her skin. We are cells on her skin. We're part of this incredibly beautiful, creative, phenomenal being. And it's like we're neurons in God's brain, but we think we're alone. And this is the problem. This is particle mode. And yes, light can function as a particle. Light can also function as a wave. And love is the willingness to hear someone else's point of view, to feel what they feel, to take the time to sit with them and say, I'll comfort you, I'll help you through this. Whether that's a dog or a child or anyone in your life. So that ability, that willingness, bridged with the silencing the mind and opening to universal God, Goddess, all that is. We have a way to access that field of information. And I could put a picture in front of you of a pony in Canada, or I could put a picture in front of you of a lion in Africa. And I could say, what's his favorite food? Who's his best friend? Is he missing somebody? What's his favorite activity? Why did he come to the planet? What brings him the most joy? What's he trying to teach the person who adopted him, even though he adopted that? Mm-hmm. You can do it. From a photograph, you can do it. And what's so incredible is that all human beings can remote view. We've simply been taught that we can't.
And how did you learn it? Did it take you a long time to learn it? Or was it just a decision? Yeah, I can do it.
Well, it's something that I shouldn't say out loud. Because if my students don't have that instant miracle, they think there's something wrong with it. I had already been a meditator. I've been meditating since I was a child. Since I was a little kid, I learned how to meditate. Silencing the mind, silencing the emotions, and because I was trained as a concert-level ballerina and modern dancer, that level of concentration, when you're watching the choreographer and you're mimicking the choreographer and you're learning Swan Lake or the Nutcracker, your mind can't go anywhere else. That level of concentration has to be so complete. Your mind is silent. You have command over your emotions because you're interpreting the music. You are the living embodiment of the music, but it's done in silence. So it's that level of concentration. But let's say every animal is dancing a dance. Every animal is telling a story without language. How do you learn how to dance with that animal? energetically. So now the next step is to take your cat in your arms tonight and say, what have you been wanting me to know that I haven't been able to hear? Can you share with me what are you feeling? What's important to you? Is there anything wrong that I need to know about? Now, there are instances where a cat's going to say, not only may the cat say, she's borderline diabetic, she's got to watch her blood sugar. The animals will say, her husband's diabetic. And the grandfather's in a wheelchair and he needs this. Now, we can't hear our own doctors. That's a problem. That's a problem. Your cats are doctors. When you're sleeping, they're monitoring your brain waves, your heartbeat, your digestion, your dream state, your blood pressure, your circulation. They are assisting us. And the more we come in humble, the more we learn. If we come in thinking we're better than them, we know everything already. How on earth would you know that? If you can't tell the difference with a giraffe, how on earth would you know the first thing about a giraffe or a penguin or a sea turtle or anything else? The ability to shift into their body and their emotional field and their mental field and even hear their memories and roll backward and forward in time. What would you feel like if you had this surgery? Let's go forward in time and check it out. So this just happened on the webinar this last week. Does she want this surgery or not? If you don't have direct contact with that animal, how would you know? And now there's a way to know. And everyone who loves animals has this ability. It's just
because they're here. They're now all the time. They're present all the time. So I find myself being connected more when I'm being in a now moment, when I'm being present. It's easier to maintain connection with the divinity. And when I look at my cat, she reminds me of being in the present moment. It's not like I invite her to my worlds. She invites me to her world. And this is what I love the most, because she's the reason why I remember to get back to present moment every day, because I work from home. So she's with me all the time. And most of the time I'm working from home and I'm here. So every time when she looks at me, she reminds me of, Eva, go back. You're disconnected. Just go back. Be present. I absolutely love that about her. But every time when I'm tuned in, she transforms into, I can feel amazing wisdom. She's not this, little cat that messes around and playing with toys. She's all of a sudden, her face, everything changes. She's pure wisdom. She's amazing. And she's looking at me all the time while we're talking all the time.
Because I'm speaking for her right now. I'm speaking for her case.
She can't wait. She really can't wait until we have a chat tonight. Because every time I have an interview with someone here in this room, she will be on me, all over me. Once she took out the poster I had out the back, the book poster, she didn't like it. It's not that she didn't like it. She was showing something to us. She got the point, and then myself and my speaker, we were talking about the point she got for us. She wanted to be part of the conversation. So I feel like it's about respect. For me, it's similar with kids, with babies. If you behave like you're their master, you're their god, like you're god for them anyway. But if you don't feel like you're on the same level, the baby is here to teach you something, and you can teach each other. Same with my cat, for example, or my dog. I feel like I respect animals or kids that they're gonna teach me. It's not like I'm here to teach them or make them be whatever I want them to be. It's not easy when you're busy and doing all the stuff, charts and all that, because you can't just sit with the cat all day and, be in this. But I'm trying as much as I can. But yeah, for me, it's about respect.
Carving out, it can be 30 minutes. And you said exactly the point. You cannot listen anywhere else except here and now. If your mind is over here and you're planning and you're thinking, which we have to do, we do have to do that. Then if your cat says something to you, you're not going to hear it. because you're busy thinking about this and planning and probably worrying about things, not realizing that giving negativity all of that energy is going to help make it manifest, which is what we don't want. We need to learn how to only think and feel what we do want. And that's another thing that animals help demonstrate. If you're thinking what you don't want, they'll do it. Because you're sending that command. I don't want my dog to attack another dog. Well, the dog will say to me, well, I don't know why she wants me to attack other dogs, but every time I go for a walk, she sends me the thought of attacking the other dog. The emotion matches because she gets all scared. So I think, well, I got a projector. So we're learning how to take all that and turn it around. Only in this present moment, without worries of the thought of the future, the past, emotional. No, just listening. What do you feel? What do you want? What do you need me to know? And don't be afraid to stop for a few moments and do nothing and sit in your love for that animal. Now, what happens is when the third eye opens, you start seeing visions. It's like clips of a movie. It's not even just static pictures. You're seeing the world through that animal's point of view and their memories and their emotions. I think I am utterly thrilled and shocked that the place that this is becoming so popular is Poland. This is where the interspecies communication is taking off. And when I come over there and teach, this time I'll do a little plug here, October 16th, that's the beginning seminar. And then the one for the students who studied with me before is October 23rd. That's out in the Polish countryside. It couldn't be more gorgeous. It is the most beautiful, pristine woods I've ever seen. I love the energy in Poland. But when I come over there, your spiritual, your concepts and your understanding is so advanced. Compared to the rest of the world, it's so advanced. The fact that you would even pick my most advanced book to publish first, this is a book that a lot of publishers wouldn't touch because, they said, well, no one's going to understand any of this. And you do in Poland. Mm-hmm. People come from all over Europe and really, honestly, everywhere I go in the world, there are so many people that have these experiences, the psychic experiences. They've had magical things happen with their animal. Even as simple as I want to take the dog for a walk. You're thinking the thought, and the dog comes running up to you with his leash in his mouth. He picked up the dog. Yeah. That happens to everybody. People just don't talk about it. And now what's happening is we're not only talking about it, we're learning how to develop.
In this book, there are also great tips about how to talk to animals. And for me, when I was reading it, it was a lot like talking to small babies, small kids.
Yeah.
And so it's like animals, in some sense, are always like children. They blame themselves for our fights. They take our emotions from us to help us heal. And they're always there for us. It's never like they grow up and leave the house like kids. So this was mind-blowing when I read it first. Okay, it's thick, but I'm glad it is because all the stories that are in it are they're amazing stories about successful communication with all kinds of animals, which I love. It's not just a cat and a dog. And this book is also written a little bit like fiction book. So when you read it, you don't feel like your brain is forced to do a lot of thinking. It just flows. So you can
Thank you. What I thought
taken by it. Yes. You can be taken by it, and then you can okay. You have this reflection, think about your own life, about your own connections with animals, with other people, with yourself, really. No wonder Polish people love this book and understand these books because for me, it's a simple language, but it's beautiful. It's magical. And also the part about complicated things, it's so simple because you don't go into the details of quantum physics. It's just easy for me.
Yeah, my mentor was Captain Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut who flew 3 Apollo missions and walked on the moon. And these were some of his concepts about quantum holography and how things work. Because I went to him to help me explain this. And he wanted me to try to put it in the simplest terms possible. That this is how it's already happening. There's nothing scary about it. Energy is being exchanged. Thoughts are real. You can hear someone else's thought. Emotions are getting projected from us. You can feel somebody else's emotion. But that ability to do that means that it's almost as if the best analogy now is the internet. If you can't get online, you can't communicate with anybody. You cannot email someone unless you're online. The online is the spiritual practice, getting online with all that God is and all the creations. Then you can communicate with any one of those creations because you're in a higher frequency band. It's as if your bandwidth is bigger. So you're still operating in a physical body here. But when you want to tune in and say, oh, my friend's having a problem with their dog. And well, send me some pictures of the dog. Okay, what's going on? What's upsetting you? What is this a physical problem? Is it an emotional problem? What we're learning is that capacity was in human beings all along. Now with the upgraded DNA activation, we're becoming aware of what we already could do. This program is in your computer, and this is your computer. Now, how do we find our way from the head to the heart? This is the operating system of your psychic ability, not this. That book opens with my being in Buckingham Palace reading the Queen's Horses. Fear exists. I'm with the head of the military in Buckingham Palace. Of course, there's fear, but then there has to be a part of you that says, that's not real. That's information that puts me on fight or flight if something is really terrible. I mean, if there's a hurricane coming, if someone's about to drop a bomb on you, yes, that's what that fear is for. And it's valuable. But if that fear controls everything that you do and you're thinking constantly, I was scared, but that's not my soul. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
To be able to put that aside and say, oh, that's an emotion. I am here as an agent of change to do God's work as a messenger between all the different species to try to harm it with the humans and the earth, the environment. So they're going to stop being so destructive toward the animals and the environment. That's the only reason I came to the planet. That's my job. That's the job of all of us right now. We're all becoming aware of our angelic. We are aware of our potential. Angel means messenger. We all have this potential. We're at the moment of choice. Are you going to choose to play small and to be scared all the time and have a miserable life? Or are you going to open up to something that's so magical and so exciting? And then you discover, oh, I can do something I never dreamed I could do. Oh, God. And that's what's happening. And the book, I hope the book wakes something up in you, that it activates you. And you go, oh, this is possible. And sometimes you don't even have to take a seminar or anything. It just starts happening. As soon as you're aware of the fact that it can happen, it starts happening. And
and it's simple.
Birds coming by, hummingbirds, hello, how's it going? Butterflies, insects, frogs, lizards, everything just starts coming and they all want to talk to you. And you start having dreams that your animals are talking. And then in time, everything that you thought you were transforms into something more beautiful.
Amazing.
We're growing. And of all wonderful places for this to be happening, Poland, gosh, what a beautiful place. Filled with the most beautiful people. I'm going to be diving into arms and drying tears and crying myself. It's just an incredible love fest.
But I'm so happy to hear that.
You're publishing this book.
It's always
possible.
nice.
So if you had not published this book, this door couldn't have opened. And if I weren't willing to get on an airplane and fly all the way from America, this couldn't happen. So it's a combination of divine timing and focus. What's really important? This is important.
Because there was time for it. On that note, what's your next step? What do you do right now? Are you writing a new book? What are your plans?
On Thursday, I fly to Texas, sign autographs all weekend. And then I fly to New Jersey and sign autographs all weekend for these crazy horror movies I used to make, where I turn into animals, so that justifies it a little bit. I'm more destroyer goddess which I don't have a problem with, because Mother Nature is too. Volcanoes, tornadoes, these things are important also. The ability to defend yourself is important. So I get to play the evil, evil female villain queen, which is perfect, because I connect that a lot to my dragon energy. In my second movie, I actually turned into a 30-foot snake. And then I'll fly to Warsaw. We've got these 2 amazing seminars. Then I'm going to go to Cairo, and from Cairo to Africa, I'll look into creating more safaris that are more affordable, especially for my European and Polish students. I do the charity work in the schools. So the charity that I started, Archangel, I go into schools and we dance as animals, draw lions, we talk about lions and poaching, protecting the lions as opposed to giving into the poachers. We do it with elephants, gorilla, pangolin, and so there's not another book in the works at the moment. It's now taking the information that's in the book and teaching people how to use it in your day-to-day life.
So you've been doing it for years now. Do you still have the same passion for it?
Maybe even more so. But now it's because I can very successfully pass the torch. In the webinars, I've got students that are certified animal communicators. They're in South Korea. I had never even been. I have 2 books published in Korea. I'd never been over there. And then I hear that they have made animal communication a legal profession in Korea because of my books. Same thing in Japan. I'm not even published in Japan. And so now I get to watch my students have these miracles, and I get to pass this information on and train professionals, because this has become a very lucrative and solid profession. It's like being a therapist for the humans and the animals. In many ways, more for the humans than the animals, because they're the ones that need the help when your animals are dying, your animals are sick. You both need the help. But I've got to teach the people how to help the animals energetically. And I train a lot of doctors and vets, which is incredible privilege. So I'm passionate about seeing the level of success I see with the Polish animal lovers, and watch and seeing amazing things happen. They're out talking to horses and healing animals and helping people and animals. So it's just going to continue. My job was to come here and really try to get these seeds planted. And that's what you did. By publishing that book, you planted a seed. Well, when I got over to Poland and saw hundreds of the books laid out for me to sign, I went, my gosh, this seed sprouted and it's growing. And the goal here is that all these women, there are a lot of men, but primarily women, that are going into the new mother goddess consciousness. Yes. It's what they teach their children. That's what matters. The next generation of children need to grow up knowing all this and acting like it's totally normal. And a lot of the children do. I'll have kids in the seminars. I also can train kids. And the child will turn to the parent and say, Mom, just tune in. Stop thinking and being scared. Just tune in. Did you even ask the animal? And so the children are born knowing it, especially now with this new high level of light workers that are coming to the planet. They need support. These kids have psychic abilities. Life is hard enough here. But when you come in and you are on a higher level, and you're a child that's all about love. First of all, the first thing, these children don't understand war. This doesn't make any sense to them. It doesn't make any sense to anybody. Why are we fighting over territory on one planet? That's ridiculous that we can't even get along with each other on one planet. The animals can. The animals are living in perfect harmony, and they were living in perfect harmony before the humans disturbed it. Now, how are we going to put ourselves back in harmony so that we can shepherd and take care of this planet? The next generation of children are the ones. They're going to have the ideas, and they have the wisdom, and they have the conscience emotionally. They want to make it right. We've got to help those kids so that they grow up thinking they can make a difference in the world. They do have power.
Yeah.
And it's courageous is a great word, because the way I perceive that right now is that it's they're not easy to control. They won't be controlled. And see, when I wrote these books, I can't be controlled. Someone else is not going to come along and tell me, you're wrong, you're crazy, you're making this up. No, this is real. And someone's got to have the courage to write about what's real. All animals can telepath with each other. The only creature on the planet that's outside of the harmony of nature is the human being. Now, it's our responsibility to learn how to telepath and stop acting like the smallest child on the planet, which is how we're acting. I mean, we could destroy it for everybody. And this is a kind of spiritual maturity level. But the courage of being able to say, yes, this is real. This is really happening. If I don't have that wild soul and say, no, I will not be controlled. And anybody who comes along and says, well, she can't do that, she's crazy, all they're saying is that they can't do it. That's like going up to a concert pianist and saying you can't play the piano. No, you can't play the piano. I put in the time and the love and the energy to learn it. This is learnable. And I'm teaching people how to tune into their psychic senses. For the third eye open, the heart open, the entire Kundalini activation, so that your body's a more sophisticated instrument than you thought it was. It can receive email. It can receive information. And your mind and your body is like a search engine. When you really develop this, you can ask any animal any question, and it's like you're watching a movie on your own laptop. But this is the laptop. A human mind created all of this technology. Therefore, the human brain had the ability to do all this without the machines. Now, every single person has had it happen. The phone rings, you know who's on the other line before you pick it up. Everybody on the planet has had that happen. Because the thought arrived of the person before the phone rang. And you perceive the thought they sent you when they're thinking about calling you. There's nothing mystical or magical or supernatural about that. It's natural. If it's happening on Earth, it's normal. We've been taught to be afraid of the things we need the most, opening our eyes. We've got to open our eyes now. That we're not the only species on the planet. We're the most destructive. We're the most dangerous. And we're the most immature. But we've got an entire world to take care of. There are trillions of species on this planet that are dying because of what the humans are doing. We have to learn how to grow so that we can take care of other beings, which we were supposed to do all along before we blow the whole thing up. We've got the capacity to make a good choice, a positive choice, and we've got the capacity to make really, really bad choices.
Amelia, last question. This book is still accurate. You wouldn't add anything to it. It's still up to date. You wouldn't written it a different way if you did it today.
I wouldn't change a word.
Perfect.
Captain Edgar Mitchell mentored that book. He's in heaven now. He went to heaven on the anniversary of his moonwalk. So he died the night before he walked on the moon. In time, of course, many years later. It's his information that I'm interpreting. These are my interpretations, my stories, what I've channeled, the things that have happened. I'm not coming in as an expert saying, I know everything and you can't eat that, you have to think this and you can't live like. I'm not doing that. I'm coming in as a witness. I've witnessed these miraculous things with animals, receiving unbelievable information. It all turns out to be real. Names, streets, medical information. It's endless. And now that I know I can teach it and that all these people are also able to do it, and then I'm teaching them to teach it, then we're creating a kind of chemical reaction that can change everything.
For sure. It's happening.
We need to put some love into the mix. And some laughter. A lot of the things that animals do are funny, and they will go out of their way to make you laugh. So they're bringing us, into the joy of natural, of living and enjoying and being grateful, even for having food, water, a place to lie down. We've got electricity. We've got medical care. We've got things that humans have even better than we've ever had on planet Earth that we know of. We've got a lot to be grateful for right now. And your dog's going to put your focus on that. Your dog's going to say, stop worrying, get off the computer. We're going to go outside, roll around in the mud, look for babies that have just been born. You're coming with me. We're going out in the flowers and the fresh air. The cats are your divine connection to the universe. They're going to channel all sorts of angelic information from above. Same with your horse, grounding you, healing you in every way. Every single animal is bringing healing and knowledge to us. And this is the greatest source of comfort. Then the spiritual teacher is the animal and you've got to find this spiritual connection within yourself. And for that reason, they push us forward and bolster our growth more than anything else. When you realize your animal is acting out your emotions, they're sick, they're depressed, they're angry, they're fighting, they're upset because they're responding to your energy. You go, I love them so much, I'm going to learn how to change what I'm doing and start being a more solid, cohesive being that sends out what I do want. Calm, comfort, love, joy, success, healing. It takes a lot of inner strength, and that's what we need right now, more than ever.
Yes. Thank you so much, Amelia. That was amazing. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much. I recommend this book to everyone who you don't even have to have a pet animal, but we're meeting animals all the time, every day, everywhere, outside, in the shops, neighbor's dog. So they're everywhere. So it's the world that we have we can tap into, and it's wow, it opens up so many doors. So this book is really for everyone, and like I don't know anybody who never experienced having a dog or a cat or even a mice or a bug in the room. So animals are everywhere. We just don't think about them because we get on with our lives and we're busy. So this book is absolutely amazing, magical, and it's also very, very spiritual. So it's amazing because, in my opinion, you can pick up this book to read because you want to connect with your animal better. But the side effect is that you connect with yourself better. So you don't have to be on a spiritual path. You take this book, you read it, and then it might bring you to the spiritual path. So it works both ways. People who are on spiritual path can read this book, but also people who are not, who just want to communicate better with the animals, and then it brings them to the spiritual path. So really, this book is for pretty much everyone, in my opinion. So I recommend it. And if you have time, go to Amelia's workshops, Amelia's seminars in Poland. If there is even a space, if it's still possible to join.
Right now, they're both still open. And that beginning seminar is going to be magical. We'll learn how to talk to animals that are live there with us, and also photographs of each other's animals and your photographs of your animals at home. And we're going to dance and laugh and cry and pretend to be animals. And they're incredibly fun retreats. Just to take your mind off the human drama and negativity and worries, and just come out and get in nature and and really, really enjoy, then it brings a lot of comfort also and healing to people who have guilt and grief. They're all,
Yeah.
yeah.
So have the good one. Have the best experiences in Poland. Just go there and have the best yet. But still, it's probably not your last visit in Poland. So I'm so happy you're going there and you're exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this chat.
Thank you.